Young, Dumb, and Thriving.
But 100 years later, the Negro still is not free.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Young, Dumb, and Thriving. Today you are here with Charmaine and Latasha. So Latasha, go ahead and give a background on who you are.
Okay, so I'm Latasha Watson, and I grew up in Chicago. I'm from Chicago, and I moved out here about 20 years ago, actually, because a friend of mine that I went to college with had a youth group and was going to open a church. And while we were hanging out together, me and some of our other friends, we were in Ohio, and the Lord spoke to me and said to go help him with his church. So I did that for a while, and then when my time was up there, I went to another church, which is Open Door, which is where I go now under Apostle Gwen and Bishop Charles Matthews. And so I've been there. I'm an elder there. I serve in the financial capacity and also with the women and whatever else they have us do. So I've done that, and that's pretty much what I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
That.
Right. So obviously we're in Black History Month, so let's point that out. So do you feel that Black History Month is important? Why or why not?
Absolutely. I think not only is Black History Month good, but I think that it's important. But I think other nationalities are important as well. And I believe that everybody should have a month where we talk about what every ethnicity gives to our world. Because our world only works when everybody works together.
Right.
And so we as Black people have contributed to our world, and so has every other nationality.
Right.
So I think it's absolutely important.
Yeah. So one, as a mother of obviously a beautiful, beautiful baby girl, we're gonna put her up on the screen. But as a mother of a young Black woman, how do you raise her? Do you raise her to be cautious of her color and to kind of pull back a little bit because of what's been happening, or?
Well, she's young, but she's getting older. So she's 11 now.
Yeah.
I was very concerned when it hit me when I took her to kindergarten. And I was like, after I looked around at all the kids, and she, along with maybe two other girls, were Black in her class. And everybody was either white or another nationality. So I'm walking to the car, and I'm like, oh my God. And I looked at her dad, and he was like, what's the matter? And I'm like, did we teach her enough about color? Because at that age, I didn't really say too much. It was just the norm. You know? But as she got older, I started buying her a lot of books, and we started talking about color. I believe in talking to kids at the age that they're able to digest it.
Exactly.
I don't want to give her too much, and she's in her mind thinking, what is my mom talking about? What does this mean? And coming up with her own definition or coming up with her own thought process. I give her what she can understand at that age, and that's how I bring her up with that.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. So one, let's talk about your journey.
Okay.
And what you experienced, the hardship that you experienced. Can you explain a little bit about that?
About 2014, and it was March actually, so it's coming around. I had woke up one morning, and I was in school. I was going to Ashford University, and it's online. And so I said, I got up to do my homework. And I said, well, let me go to the bathroom first. I came out, and I was walking, and my arm started bothering me, and I noticed my leg was kind of feeling really funny. And so I had a stroke before. And so in my mind, that was the first thing I thought about. And so when you're trying to do, to see if you've had a stroke, you have to lift your arms out to the front. And if they don't line up like this, then you know something's happening. And my right one was lower. Not a lot, but a little. But because when you first put it out, if it doesn't go up, then you know something's wrong. So at the time I woke my husband up, I said, hey, I think I'm having a stroke. And he's like, what? So we go to the hospital. That's what they determined it to be. But he had to leave to, because my daughter was at home with some friends.
Yeah.
And he had to call like the pastors in my family and all these things. And so by the time he got back that afternoon, I had lost all mobility on the right side.
Wow.
Now that had never happened before. I had some numbness that went away after a few months, but nothing like this. And I'm thinking, what is going on? You know?
Yeah.
And so because I'm a Christian, my immediate thought was, okay, let me pray. And so I had my conversation with God.
Yeah.
And I asked him, I just point blank asked him, are you going to heal me? And I in a still small voice, I heard yes. And then I'm a very analytical, very specific type person.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, are you going to heal me while I'm down here? Or are you going to heal me when I come to heaven? Because there is a difference.
Right.
And so I wanted to know. And he said, well, I was here. And then I even had to be more specific. Okay, do you mean the day before I die? Or am I going to live a full life? Is this going to come back and I'm going to live a full life?
Yeah.
I wanted to know. I'm very specific. God knows me.
Yeah.
And so he said, you will live a full life and it won't be without your mobility.
Okay.
And from then, I started my journey.
Yeah.
You know.
So obviously that was a dramatic change for you, drastic.
Oh, absolutely.
So how do you keep positive going through your life?
I believe, and again, I'm a Christian, so I believe the Word of God, and I hold fast to that, and I teach my daughter that. And one of the scriptures that I teach her is, all things work together for the good of those who love God and who are called according to His purpose. And any way you change that scripture, it means the same thing.
Right.
And so because of that, I believe that God is doing something with this, even though I don't like it.
Right.
I never liked it. I've learned to embrace it.
Mm-hmm.
But in order for His will to be done, but I don't necessarily like it, but I embrace it. So I deal with it, and I constantly commune with God to find out, okay, how do I do this? Help me through this frustration. I have this daughter to raise.
Exactly.
Show me what to do. And so the one thing I can tell anybody is that I show up for life every day. Mm-hmm. I refuse to lay down and not live. Right. And that is the quickest way to death. Mm-hmm. Because like most people, I'm nosy. You told me you're going to heal me. I want to see it happen. Right. I've never seen anybody. Well, I have seen some people come back from strokes, but I've never seen me.
Right.
And I want to see my arm lift. I want to see my wrist flex. I want to see my ankle flex. I want to wear heels again. I'm so jealous about your boots right there. You know, but I want to experience life. I don't want to wait until I'm healed to live. Mm. Because we don't know how long. If I live to 100, I still got plenty of years left. Right. So I don't want to wait until then to live. I want to live now. And so I constantly talk to Him. I constantly pray. I work through my frustrations and whatever comes with it.
Wow. First of all, I just want to say you are such an incredible woman. Like, awesome. Because I don't know too many people that can for real tackle a major change like that in life and tackle it with, like, I still trust God. And I'm still going to live. Not be alive, but live and walk in my purpose. And I think that is such an amazing and beautiful thing, even when you brought up your daughter. Because like you said, you still have to be a mom. So how do you feel in regards to like your daughter seeing like that drastic change? Because obviously she experienced it too. Have you guys ever had a conversation?
Yeah, she was actually 4 when it happened, because she turned 5 that July. Yeah. And so we have went through quite a few changes. Yeah. And in all changes, I would get wise counsel from different people in my circle who I really trust. Yeah. One is your mom. Yeah. And I had talked to her because I went through major changes. So after my mobility, after having the stroke, maybe 6 to 7 months later, her father and I didn't work out. So then we had to part ways. So now I'm a single mom with a disability and needing to make life work. Yeah. And then within, I would say, a year, my mom passed away. Wow. Right before Christmas, unexpectedly. And so I was like, oh my God. So now we had to deal with me being different, her mom, and then her dad and I not being together, and then her maternal grandmother passing away. So that was her first death experience. And I'm like, oh my God. And so I remember going to, and it was so interesting. What I would tell people is always take advantage of whatever God puts in your path.
Yeah.
So at our church, when I came back from after my mom passed, I remember there was this group, and your mom happened to be part of it with a couple other therapists. And I remember it was a group for people who were depressed. And when they asked us our name and why we were there, I said, I don't know if I'm depressed, but because I've experienced so much loss, I want to know tools just in case I happen to hit something in me that causes, the depression. And so I remember one of the therapists saying, as long as you're okay, your daughter will be okay, because she knew that was my number one priority. And so I keep that in mind. So what I do is I make sure I'm okay. I make sure if I need therapy, I get therapy, because people need therapy.
Yes.
They are here for a reason.
Right.
Utilize them.
Right.
So I do that. So I make sure that I take care of myself, because in taking care of myself, I'm definitely going to take care of my daughter.
Right.
And so as she grows, again, I believe in giving children what they can handle in their own language.
Yeah.
So I talk to different people, again, in my sphere of influence, and I get wise counsel, and I pray. And I use those tools, and I'm honest with her. I don't give her stuff that she shouldn't handle. There are certain things that we as adults go through that 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. And I don't care how smart she is.
Right.
There's some things her brain is not mature enough to handle.
Right.
And so that's what I do. And so I show up for her every day. I'm involved in her life. I'm that mom. When the schools were open, I was up there volunteering.
Yes.
I was keeping my eye on her.
Yeah.
And I just think you being present in their life, not just being in their life, because you could be alive and not be present.
Right.
Be present. If she want to play dolls, then we going to play dolls.
Right. We're going to play together.
That's right. If she want to look at something on TV, The Flash, then we gonna look at The Flash together. So I'm always present.
Yes.
I never want to get too busy where I'm not present with her, because she's only gonna be this age for 365 days.
Yeah.
And I don't want to miss 300 of them and then try to make it up in 65 days.
Wow.
So I try to be as present as I can.
Yeah. First of all, I've never even heard it like that. Like, you're only that age for 365 days. I want to say that's a new one that I heard. I'm writing that one down. I'm gonna tell that to my kids. Okay, you're only this age for 365. So I'm gonna be with you these 365 days. That's why I'm so on you. But I think that is so beautiful. So to switch to the next segment, this actually goes perfectly with our conversation right now. All right, guys, so obviously it's different right now. We have some material here that Miss Latasha will use to hold in front of her face. So right now, can you please look at the camera and can you tell me if you see?
If I see what? Can I see?
Yeah, can you see? Okay, so now can you explain what strength in sight means to you?
Strength in sight. I think having a good view and focus of what lies ahead.
Yes.
And embracing what needs to be done.
Okay.
Because when you embrace what needs to be done, you use strength within you that you don't really realize that you have.
That's good. That is good. Okay. So now I'm going to hand you this.
Okay.
And you're just going to try and look through it. Look at the camera and then try and look through it. Can you see through that?
Yes.
Okay. So now you can put it down.
Okay.
Can you explain fear of the unknown?
Oh my gosh. Fear of the unknown is when you experience an emotion about something that you don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. So a lot of us have fear of the unknown, because when you can say, well, what if this happens?
Right.
Well, what if that happens?
Right.
And if you say, what if, that means it has not happened already.
Right.
So you're stepping into a place that hasn't happened.
Right.
And you're trying to figure out what will happen on the other side of that. But you don't even know what that is.
That's good.
You know?
Ooh.
So we experience that every single day.
Every day.
You know? With jobs. We're experiencing now with the pandemic.
Right.
We don't, well, what if the schools don't open? Well, okay. Well, right now they're not open. This is what we're doing.
Right.
Let's just deal with this.
Right. Ooh, that's good. Okay. You can put that on the floor.
Okay.
And then here's the next material.
Okay.
You just hold up and now let the audience know if you can see through that.
No.
Okay, so now you could drop it.
Okay.
Now, can you please explain faith?
Oh, faith is believing in something that you don't see yet.
Ooh, there it is.
So I can be honest with you and say that my ankle doesn't flex and my wrist doesn't flex, but my faith says that it does.
Come on.
And so every time I exercise my arm or exercise my leg, every time that I buy a pair of boots and I put them on my bookshelf, that's faith, because trust me, I will be wearing boots and heels again.
Right.
And so when you have faith that something's going to happen, you keep rehearsing it in your mind. It's just like when you rehearse something bad, rehearse the good part.
Right.
When I wanted a certain car, I would get a picture of the car. I had a picture of a green car that I wanted. And I would talk about it all the time. Oh, I cannot wait till I get my lime green car and blah, 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 blah. And before you knew it, I had a lime green car.
Amen. Amen.
You know, so before you know it, I'll be walking and I'll be lifting this hand and I'll be running again with my daughter and all those different things. So it's something that you don't see.
Right.
But that you do see in your mind.
Right.
And you're doing your best by speaking it into existence until it manifests in front of you. That's what faith is.
That's some good advice, good word right there. That's a word in itself. Let's just say it like that, because literally a lot of times you go through life, and the reason I chose these materials is because a lot of times you go through life, you see perfectly in one aspect of your life, and then in another it starts to get a little bit blurry. Like, okay, I can kind of see what you're doing, God, but not really. And then some moments are just like, boom, what is happening? What is going to happen? Like you said, we deal with that on a daily.
Yes.
Literally, you'll be like, well, what happens if this happens? And then what? But it's like, no. Just go with now. Just have faith. Just trust the process that God is taking you for. And I just love the fact that you're telling the audience, like, no, I bought myself some shoes that I'm going to wear because I'm going to wear them one day. And I'm going to run with my daughter one day, because you're manifesting that and you're speaking that into your existence. Even though right now, currently, you're not. But you will be, because like you say, you know, and you see that for yourself. I think that's beautiful. So Latasha, do you have any last piece of words or wisdom for the audience?
Yes. I think if I could tell people anything, is that no matter what your adversity is, your issue is, whatever problem you're dealing with, I would advise you, whether you know God or not. If you don't know God, you should. But if you don't, or you do, show up for life every day and be determined to make something out of your life. Make it happen. Yeah. Because you can do one or two things. You can take what happened to you and let it become you and die while you're still living. Yeah. Or you can be determined to make life work for you and do different things that will all line up, because everything that you go through is for a reason, and you can always use it. And because I use the scripture, all things work together. This is working together for my good. Yeah. Because I'm called according to his purpose, and I love him, and he knows that. And so it's all going to work together. I'm not the first person to have a stroke. I'm not going to be the last person to have a stroke. You're not the first person that has lost a job. You won't be the last person. Oh, come on. So everything, and remember that you're not alone. You may not know people currently, but somebody has went through, or is going through, or is going to go through what you're going through. So because I'm not the only one, and because of that, if they can come out of it, I can come out of it.
Yep.
So in me coming out of it, because I won't be the last person, there'll be another mother who goes through the same thing, and they'll see this video, or they hear somebody talking who has seen this video years down the line, and I can actually be a roadmap for them.
Right.
Because the one thing that's scary when you go through something, you think, I remember saying to God, I don't have a roadmap.
Yeah.
What do I do now?
Right.
You know, I'm raising this child by myself. What do I do now? I'm going through a divorce. How do I do this? My mom passed. Oh my God.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not the first person that had their mom pass,
Right.
you know. So all these things, it's nothing new under the sun. Somebody has went through it. And perhaps if you can't find a roadmap, your life is to become one for someone else.
That's awesome.
And because you don't know, you won't know until you get up.
Exactly.
So get up every day and show up for life. Show up for life in pain. Show up in life in adversity. Show up in life just the way you are. And make life happen for you.
That's beautiful. That's definitely becoming a quote for this video. Make life happen for you. Yeah. Well, I just want to say, Latasha, thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing your story and giving your words of wisdom. And I want to say thank you guys so much for tuning in to another episode of Young, Dumb,
Is anyone out there?
You can shoot me with your words. You can cut me with your lies. You can kill me with your hatefulness. But just like life, I rise.